Welcome to Business 101. Today, I am going to give you some tips and tricks for selling at craft shows and markets. So I will see you in a moment. Hey girl, hey, and for all of you lovely boys out there, hey boy, hey, welcome back to OMG & Co. I am the Scrunchie creator at OMG & Co. Used to be OMG Scrunchie Club, but it still is. You can use both website names. And I would like to welcome you for those of you that are new. My name is Lamiel. So let's go ahead and get into today's video. But before we do, let me share with you my new OMG & Co. look. Yes, girl or boy. These are some lovely earrings that I made. I actually made them today. They're not on the website yet. Hopefully they will be up there by this Saturday. Fingers crossed. I have to do everything. I have to take pictures, edit, shoot videos, edit those. So for those of you that are small business owners, you know if you have no crew, you are the crew and you do everyone's job because you are everyone. But these, I think I'm going to call these spring mix. They are very light and fluffy. They don't even weigh an ounce. I actually weigh my earrings when I make them so that I know how much they weigh, because you don't want your earlobe hanging unless that's the style that you're going for. But let's go ahead and get into today's video. So for today, I have listed, I want to say 9 helpful tools for you, or tips for you to use when doing a craft show or a market show. Well, I think it's 8. So what exactly is a craft show or a market? Here in America, or let me narrow it down to the state of Georgia, craft shows or markets are where individuals that make handmade items, they can go and sell. These are like big events where people set up tents or booths, depending on if you're inside or outside, and you sell your handmade items to people that are interested in purchasing nice handmade items. So let's get into the tips. So tip number 1, or topic number 1, when starting out, do your research. For example, if you know that in the future you want to do a craft show or a market, now is the time to start scouting different markets that you want to do. For example, when I knew that I wanted to start doing markets, I would go to the different markets. So let's say next year, I know I want to start doing markets. So this year is the time that I would scout to see which markets have a crowd, because some markets you go to may not have as big of a crowd as other markets in other areas. So if you can, if you're not trying to do one like in the upcoming months, do your homework and research to find markets that are possibly profitable for you and what you sell, because there are some markets where there are high quality handmade items. Then there's other markets where it's just kind of like, oh, these people kind of went to the Dollar Tree, put something together, and bam, handmade. So you want to check out the shows if at all possible. And another suggestion under this category is, when you're starting out, don't go for the highest price shows. I remember my very first show, I was in Alabama. It was only $50. And I had this little, I'm going to use the word rinky dink. If you don't know what rinky dink means, it means this little put together or raggedy, like it wasn't very nice of a tent. It was like a plastic tent that you had to connect PVC poles to. And I spent $50, and my husband was like, if you make $100 or so, I will buy you one of those nice metal pop-up tents. This was back in the early 2000s. And unfortunately for that show, I only made between $50 or $70. So I did make my booth money back, but I did make the $100, but he still bought me the tent anyway. And so the reason I say start out with a cheaper show is because you want to get your feet wet. You don't want to just dive into the most expensive show without having experience of how to sell, set up, or do any of the logistical things at a craft. I will say for me, I do shows all the way up to almost $400. I think the most expensive show that I've done, it was $350, but I made a ton of money, and it was a 2-day show. So I try to do 2-day craft shows or markets. In some areas, they only offer 1-day show. I know when I see some of Taylor Rose's little YouTube thumbnails. It says like two or three craft shows over the weekend or markets. And I'm like, that is pretty cool. But the way that the shows that I do that are set up, it's not a one-day thing. It's usually the entire weekend. Maybe it's from Friday to Sunday or Saturday and Sunday. So I prefer those because once you set up, you're done setting up for the entire event instead of taking down, going to somewhere else. So the next category that I want to talk to you about is selecting a show to do. So after you've done all of your scouting, your location, where you want to go to do the show, now it is time to select the show or shows that you want to do. And the reason I say you have to select is because a lot of these shows, they have application fees as well as deadlines. So you want to make sure that you read the applications very carefully and pay attention to any special requirements that they have. For example, the craft shows that I do require that everyone has a white tent. Yes, white tent. Not everyone has a white tent. White tents, the good ones are really expensive. So I have a white tent and it has side walls. So if I want to shut up shop or close up shop, I can just zip those walls back together. So when selecting a show, read through the application very carefully. A lot of them will say they're rain or shine events. So if it rains, you still have to go and do the show, even if customers don't show up. I've done a few shows where sadly it has rained. One of my shows, luckily it rained on the second day of the show. I haven't had any shows where they were complete washouts, but luckily I made my money. I broke even, made profit. I was doing great the first day of the show. So to have the second day get washed out was not a big deal for me. So check the policy on that, because if it is a rain or shine show, you will not get a refund. And sometimes they will not refund you even if the show is canceled. So make sure, let's zoom in. Make sure, my friend, that you read the application, because you don't want to lose X amount of money, because if you can't do the show, you're not making a profit. Also, check to see on the application if they have tablecloth requirements. There are shows that I do that have tablecloth requirements. So you have to have like a tablecloth. I haven't had any that specify the color of the tablecloth, but I've gone to shows where you must have a tablecloth. And I think they do these special requirements as far as presentation for uniformity to kind of make the show look very cohesive, make it look very neat. So make sure you do that, because you don't want to show up to a show and they say you need a tablecloth and you don't have one. So I purchased some tablecloths years ago that actually fit my tables. They're cloth, fabric and cloth. They're cloth tablecloths. That's where I'm getting confused trying to say cloth and tablecloth. But they're fabric tablecloths that fit the exact size of my table. So I just take those with me and fold them up. Okay, so the next topic that I want to talk to you about is setting up. So when you get to the craft show or the market, if at all possible, if you could set up the day before, I highly recommend that, because the day of the show, you have a limited amount of time that you are able to come in and set up your space, because there may be, I know with some of the shows that I do, they start like at 9 or 10 o'clock. And for the day of setup, it usually starts at 6 or 7 o'clock. And if you have to be show ready by 9 o'clock and you have a lot of things to put out, you may not be ready when the show opens. There have been shows where I have actually had to still set up my stuff while customers or the event opened, but luckily it worked out. People would still buy stuff. I would just have to stop doing what I was doing and I would just sell to them what was out. But I would say, hey, if you come back later, there'll be more things out. So if you can set up the day before, that will save you a lot of stress, especially if you have lots of items to put out. So this pertains to anyone, these tips that I'm giving, not just scrunchie makers. So whatever you're selling, if you come in with one box, if one box is all that you're doing, then of course you can set that up the day of. Also, for setting up before you get to the show, the day before or the week of the show, you want to make sure that you have change. By change, I mean have some cash, because you'll have people that will come in and pay in cash, and you want to be able to give them change back, because if you don't have the change, guess what? They'll take their business to the next booth or the next vendor that is selling what you are selling. So those are two important things. So remember what I do, well, what my mom suggested that I do, because I guess I kept forgetting stuff, is to actually make a checklist. So what I do is, before I do a craft show, I have a checklist. I have a checklist of all the items that I need to take. So when I pack my van, I can check off and make sure that I have everything that I need to take with me. And then I take that same checklist and check off to make sure that everything I brought is coming back. As far as my displays, hopefully I don't have to bring back all of my items, so that's not added to the checklist. So now let's talk about being at the show. If at all possible, I highly recommend you taking an assistant or someone with you to help. Many of the times I do my craft shows, I would go alone because, of course, I have 4 kids. So it's easy for me to say, hey, hun, talking about my husband, I'm going to the craft show, you keep the kids. And it is a lot easier not having to have 4 kids say, hey, I'm hungry, I want to go to the bathroom or do whatever. But I have had to take my kids to a craft show with me, all 4 of them alone in the rain, while my husband was doing a film shoot. And that was not fun. But now that my kids are older, my daughters, they can come with me and they will help bring in the crowd of customers. They actually can wear the products to model them and do some marketing at the event, which I will talk to you about that. Also, having help is helpful if you need to go to the restroom. For example, if you're alone and you go to the restroom, guess what? Your tent or your booth or stand is alone as well. But luckily, I've had to do this at some events where I had to go to the restroom, but luckily I made friends with my neighbors to the left and the right. So the other crafters, I have never had a problem at a craft show where the vendors next to me were not helpful. So they would stand and watch my booth, or if a customer came in, they would say, hey, she's going to the restroom or going to get something to eat. She'll be right back. And so that worked out for me to where I was able to go to the restroom. But if you have someone with you, you don't have to ask. And also try to bring a lunch if you can. I'm always about saving money. Whenever I do a craft show, I don't buy anything. My goal at this show is to make money, not spend it. So I always take a lunch. I'll take like a salad and some snacks and some water, and I would just eat in my tent. That way I don't have to walk around to find a food vendor or to buy lunch. But there are some shows, depending on the price of the show or the location of where your show is, there are some shows that I have done where there is a worker of the show or at the show, and they come by and take your order and bring your food to you. And they even come and relieve you on a restroom break or for a restroom break, which I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. So that, I mean, if you can find a show like that, by all means, you can go alone because you'll have help from the workers that are working. If you have time before the show starts, what I like to do is, if I have time before the show starts or if I have help that comes with me, I will go and check out the competition. Yes, I go and see people. When I was doing the craft shows, this was before the pandemic happened. I was selling hair bows, and I had scrunchies, but hair bows was like my big thing and scrunchies were in between. So I was selling hair bows, and I would go and see what other hair bow vendors were selling, like their style of hair bows. And I would also check out if they're running a special, as well as check out their price point. And I would try to be competitive with them. And I would even tell people, hey, if someone has something that you like over there and it is cheaper than mine, I will price match and give you a 10% discount. So hey, stores do it all the time. For example, I want to say maybe Best Buy or Joann's, Hobby Lobby, or someone like that. They price match, and some of them price match and give a discount, because just price matching is not going to make that customer walk all the way back to your tent. But if you price match and give them a discount to come back, they will come back, my friend. Okay, so now we've talked about at the show. So let's talk about your presentation, your tent presentation. If I can find pictures, I had a hard drive full of pictures of all the craft shows that I've done. I found a few of them, and if I can get them uploaded, I will upload a few. But presentation is very important. And I will say the ones that I did find, they were earlier on. So as I progressed through my craft show / market career, my presentation of my tent began to get better and it increased. So don't worry about when you first start out, like your tent not being the best, but make it the best that you can make it. But don't compare your tent to someone else's tent, because they may have been doing markets for years before you got started. So presentation, make sure that your space is neat, clean, and welcoming. And of course, your appearance needs to match as well. And you are presenting and representing your brand. So make sure that you put on a friendly face, smile, greet the customers as they walk by. I'm always out at the edge of my tent, not in the tent. When I don't have customers, I'm standing at the edge of my tent, waving at people, saying hello. And since I was selling hair bows, I would talk to the little kids, of course, with their parents' permission. I would talk to them and say, hey, look at this hair bow, or check this out. It matches what you're wearing. And I would draw the customers and the parents in with just a friendly hello and a conversation. So also in your presentation, you want to make sure you have signage. I hate it when I go to places, even stores or craft shows, where the vendor does not have any prices. To me, it seems kind of shady, because you can tell me one price and then tell someone else a completely different price. I feel that your price should be displayed nice and clearly, so that if you are busy with other customers, the customer doesn't have to bother you or take away from you doing a sale with someone else to ask, hey, how much is this? And then they go to something else, how much is this? So if the prices are displayed, then that will eliminate them asking you the price. And I have a personal thing of when I set up my tent. I have a picture of this. I put everything in by color. So I start with white, I go to yellow. Well, I go white, cream, yellow, or whatever. But I have everything kind of in an ombre effect where it goes from light to dark. So that if a customer is looking for something, they don't have to go all over the place. They can walk directly to whatever color that they're looking for and pick that item. This is only if you're selling colored items or single colored items. That will work. But you can even do that with makeup. When you go to the makeup counter, they have the different shades of red, different shades of pink, all kind of lined up for you to choose from. So it can be done with more than just hair, accessories, and makeup. Also, have bags. Yes, you want to have bags or something for your customers to put their items in after they make a purchase with you. My mom made some cute little baskets when I was doing my craft shows for my customers to use to walk around my tent and put in like a little shopping cart. So my tent had shopping carts, and the little girls that would come in and their parents loved the fact that I had a shopping cart. It was a little cart my mom made, not the one that you get at the grocery store or Walmart, but she made it for me. She decorated it for me, put my logo of for my tent, and the customers would use that. But also that was a part of the presentation as well. And don't forget to have business cards with you, or some type of way for your customer to contact you. That is very important. You want them, if they want to make more purchases from you, you want to have a way or means for them to contact. Now let's talk about marketing. Yes, you can market at a craft show. So I'm going to combine marketing and social media. So one thing that I do at craft shows sometimes is, when I know ahead of time, which is most like 99% of the time, you know where your tent number is going to be or what your tent number is going to be. I make up marketing cards, like little business cards, or you can do postcards, and I offer a coupon on this card, and on the card it says my tent number. So I'll just walk around randomly, or have someone, if someone comes with me, just have them walk around to random people and hand out a postcard or a business card. I like to target, I know this may sound weird, but I target people that are looking for items that I am selling. For example, if someone is standing outside of a hair accessory tent, I will hand them one of my cards with my tent number on it, and it'll say, hey, come here to get 10, 15%, I'm just throwing out a number, discount off of these hair accessories. And guess what happens? Those customers come, they have to present that coupon, and that is a way of marketing at a market show. Yes, my friend. So when it comes to social media marketing, you can use this strategy at a craft show as well. So advertise on your social media pages the dates and times and locations of the shows that you will be attending. That way, if you have followers that are local to you, they can come to your show and support and purchase items from you. Also, one thing that I like to do is I actually have a sign, or had a sign, because all of my craft stuff is in the garage now. I had a sign on my tent that says sign up and like and subscribe to my Facebook page to get maybe a free item, depending on the show that I was doing, a free item, or maybe you'll get a discount. And the customers would actually stand outside of my tent, subscribe, and they would have to show me as proof. Now, I can't say whether or not they unsubscribed when they walked away after getting the discount, but guess what? That was a way of marketing and getting followers on my social media platform. Also, you can use QR codes. I know now people are using these little QR code signs where you just scan and you can get links or access to the vendor's social media account, and you can like it from there too. So that's pretty cool. So now, one important thing, well, one of the biggest important things is customer retention. Yes, you're at a craft show, but you want to retain these customers that may be first timers to your booth or your product. You want to be able to retain them so that they can be customers, lifelong customers of yours. So to do this perfectly or well, you have to give the customer a reason to come back. You can give a price-based coupon for them to return to your website, because maybe you don't have another show coming up soon and you do have a website. You want them to come back to the website and make a purchase. For example, stores do this all the time. If you spend $50, you get a $5 coupon. Something just that simple. If they spend $50, maybe you can have several coupons, price-based coupons based off of the amount that they spend, and you can give them a coupon. I know when I take my oldest daughter to Rue 21, they're always giving us a coupon, and it's like, use this coupon on this date, which is not the date that you're coming back. But you can do coupons, and you can schedule it for a coupon run date where it starts next week until the end of the month. You can do that. You could also do a coupon where you give them a card and says, go to the website, use this coupon, get 10% off your entire purchase, or you can do $10 off $100. It's totally up to you how you decide to offer this coupon. But I will say, if you put an expiration date on the coupon, it will give the customer a sense of urgency, because they'll be like, oh, I have to use this before this date. So don't forget, if you want to create a sense of urgency, use the expiration date. But if it's not really important that they use it anytime soon, don't offer an expiration date, and maybe they'll use it, and encourage them to pass the coupon code along to friends and family. Hey, the more customers, the more money you make. So let's see. And don't forget about customers that don't make a purchase. They can be retained also. So for example, maybe someone's looking in your booth or your tent at the market or craft show, but they don't make a purchase. Give them a reason to make a purchase. Maybe not that day, but give them a coupon. I would do a different coupon for someone that doesn't pay versus someone that does. So maybe you give them a coupon that says, hey, sorry you didn't purchase anything today, but we'd love for you to be a customer of ours. Here's a 10% off coupon you can use on the website. And there you go. And since these are local customers, if you're doing the craft show in your area, offer them free shipping. Just say, hey, since you're local to the area, I'll throw in free shipping for you, even though you offer it anyway, but make them feel like they're getting something. Also, you can run specials. Yes, specials retain customers. People like to save money. For example, you can do 5 items for the price of 4, my friend. Yes, but check this out. I'm going to say the same thing, but I'm going to word it a little different. Buy 4, get 1 free. Which one to you sounds better? Buy 4, get 1 free, or 5 for the price of 4. They're the exact same thing. But when it comes to marketing and consumer behavior, learned this in my marketing class. I'm using my degree, mom and dad. So when it comes to marketing and consumer behavior, the word free will grab someone's attention quicker than the word 5 for $4, or the saying 5 for $4. So whenever people feel as though they're saving money or getting something for free, they're more likely to spend money. And Have any of you ever noticed this? When you go to the grocery store, they'll have something like 3 for the price of $5, but when you actually break it down, you're actually spending more money by doing the bundle versus buying them separate. I know that may sound weird, but I was in the store the other day and they were like, oh, buy these chips 2 for $5, but the chips individually were $1.99 each, which is $4 for 2 bags of chips. So you're actually spending more money. So the next time you go to the store, check those out and see if any of you ever catch any of those things. Okay, so let's see. We're still talking about retention of customers. Oh, and if you can't do the free item for your product that you're selling, then you're doing something wrong. If you giving away an item hurts your bottom line profit or your profit margin, your price point is too low. I will just throw that out there. For example, if I were selling, let's say I do these scrunchies. Let's pull out a scrunchie. So let's say I want to do buy 4, get 1 free. If I am unable to give that 5th scrunchie away for free and not make a profit, I need to reevaluate, either 1, stop selling scrunchies, or 2, raise the price of my scrunchies. So if you're not able to give away something free, now I understand, now if you're selling something huge that takes lots of time, by all means, get your value of it or for it. But whenever you're selling something, you should always be making a profit. Like I tell people, this is my personal opinion, try to make 3 to 5 to 10 times the amount on profit. Make as much as you can. Now let's get into pricing. I was asked this question by Nature Girl 2110. Hey girl, hey, if you're watching this video, shout out to you. So she asked, how much do you charge for scrunchies at live events like pop-ups or craft shows? Now, when it comes to pricing, there are a lot of factors that I take into mind when doing this. One is the cost for me to get into the show. If it's an expensive show, I know the audience or the target audience in the location is going to have some money. So I know that I can charge my regular price for my scrunchies. There have been events where, for example, I've done shows like in the boondocks. When I say boondocks, if you don't know what boondocks are, it's like the country where there's no Walmart, no street lights, just a whole bunch of trees and people. So I've done shows in places like this and I only paid like $25 for the show. And I had to adjust my prices to match that target audience because they couldn't afford to pay the price of what I would charge in the city or in a different area or a zip code. So take that into consideration. I have different signage. Whenever I do a show, I will be honest, I will have different sign price points. I have the minimum price point that I'm willing to take and the max. So if I get somewhere and I need to readjust my pricing, I just have my sign already made and I just swap them out. So I have several different signs, different levels of pricing, depending on where I am, because the one thing you don't want to do is overprice in a market where no one can afford you or underprice in a market where they can afford you. So you have to kind of gauge the audience or the customers to see what you need to do. Also, on the last day of some of my shows, depending on how my mood is, usually I'm in a good mood at craft shows. I just love them. I will offer a discount on the last day. I'll say, hey, like the last hour of the last day, because you know you have to pack up whatever you have with you. I'll say, hey, everything in this tent is 35% off. So come on in and get some stuff. I'll just make up a price. But I have signs for these as well. So I just have a stack of signs that I take with me. And if I need to swap them out, or paper that I insert in my signs. So if I need to swap them out, I'll do that. Also, so I take the price of the show into effect, as well as the demographic, like the demographic of the people that I am selling to as far as income wise, if that makes sense. Because there are some shows, you know, these people have money, and some shows, you know, that, hey, they may not have too much money or a lot of money, but I still want them to buy something, so I'll lower the price. So keep that in mind. Remember, if you don't want to lower your price, it's okay, because it's your item that you're selling. You don't have to worry about lowering the price if you don't want to. Another thing is, keep in mind when you do a craft show, you don't have to pay website or shipping fees, but you do have to pay a fee to get into the event as a vendor. So you may want to take account of that as well. So for example, you can offer a slight discount from your normal price. So let's say this scrunchie here, I sell my XXL scrunchies for $16 on the website, and I have free shipping to the US. But if I were to go out and sell it at a craft show, I would probably sell it between $12 to $14. The reason I would do that is to get the customer in, to make that initial purchase, fall in love with this item, and then say, hey, today, this is one thing I love to do. Today, because I am here and you are here, I am offering a discount. These scrunchies today are $12. If you were to purchase them on the website, they're $16. But for this event, I am running the special for this event. For example, I will give the name of one of the events I do. I do Swanee Fest. And so I'll say today for Swanee Fest, I am doing a promotion for all Swanee Fest customers and guests. And today I am offering X amount % off or X dollars off of this scrunchie. And they're like, oh, that is so nice. They buy the scrunchie, I give them a coupon. They go to the website, they use that coupon at the website and save even more money and become a loyal customer. So that is another thing I do. Let's see. At craft shows, customers are expected to pay money for things. They are expected to pay a higher price. I have gone to shows and they're like, oh, your prices aren't too high. Or I've heard them not saying it to me, but they're like, oh, these prices aren't high. We're expecting, it's high quality handmade items. People expect to pay more money for handmade items. So don't lowball yourself. So don't go in with initial thought of, hey, I need to be the lowest price, because you don't. If your quality of work is worth it, price it that way, and people will appreciate that. And for some reason, people, when they see, you can have something nice quality at a very cheap price and people wouldn't buy it. But then they would go and buy something that is horrible quality at a very high price. It is something psychological that people think that the more they spend, the better the quality of something is, which is not always necessarily true. So keep that in mind. I'm not sure if I missed anything, but I hope I didn't. I'm looking to see. But if any of you have any questions or any other suggestions that you would like for me to do video topics on to help you with your scrunchie business or business in general, feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section below. And thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next class. Business 101 with Lamiel. Have a good day. Bye-bye.